So expectations from other people can really control us and give us a lot of hurt. Sexual abuse, and the next one is abuse. It can be sexual or emotional, physical, or all kinds of violations against a person. Any kind of abuse can cause hurt. Trauma is the next one, the impact of an accident. You can have a serious accident, and that trauma cause hurt. If you don't respond properly, it causes hurt, and it causes pain. And so if any event comes in your life and you don't properly cry, properly go through the emotions, go through the process, then you are pushing things into the basement. Next one is bereavement. If someone dies, you need to cry. Now, some people go and they won't cry. They won't go through the process of pain. They won't go through the grieving process, or they'll get stuck in the process, just get angry, and they're angry forever. And they won't go through the whole process. You do that, and you hurt yourself, and you push it into the basement. Some of the symptoms of emotional damage are physical. Some people get a nervous lump in their throat when they hear somebody's name. You know, some people are undiagnosed pain, eating disorders, nail biting, fear, exhaustion, overeating, cutting. Kids who cut themselves. That means there's pain suppressed down in the basement, down there. Sometimes the letter B is some of the symptoms are irrational responses or irrational reactions. You look for a pattern that's inappropriate. There are times when all of us are irrational, right? You know, and so you have irrational response. Okay, everybody's going to be irrational at some point. So you don't want to say, "Oh my goodness, I'm irrational. There must be suppressed pain down there, and I got to get God heal me." We're looking for a pattern of being irrational. Okay, there's a long-term pattern of it. Next one is obsessions and phobias. Hand washing, excessively, got to be clean, excessive neatness, excessive messiness. Oh, I made up a word this week. Pack rat-itis. It's an obsession. Okay? And any kind of obsession is a form of not properly handling emotions. Okay? Next one is depression. And you know what? That's an epidemic in our world today. Depression everywhere. Look for depression that's excessive, uncontrollable, sense of hopelessness. It's the common cold today, I put, of mental health. It just seems like depression is everywhere. When you don't face life properly, you can get depressed. And sometimes I understand it's chemical, and sometimes it actually is a physical problem. Okay. But a lot of it is just emotional, and the way we respond emotionally to things that happen. The letter E is mask. Some people live in an unreal world of pretend. They just flat are going to pretend, and it's not there. And there are a lot of people, that's the way they live their whole lives, as if it isn't true. That doesn't help. Another one is wrongful relationships. It's awfully interesting how when you're hurting inside, you tend to have friends who don't help you. The next one is distorted sexuality. A lot of response to hurt is we jump out sexually in wrong ways. If we feel like our dad hasn't loved us, nurtured us, a girl will go out and find some guy to meet that need, and he'll be the most wonderful person in their life. Makes you feel just wonderful, and it's nothing more than the pain from dad. To be really careful of that. It's awfully interesting how it just seems like so many girls pick the wrong guys. And if you ask mama to help you pick them, she won't like them. Say, why doesn't mama like anybody I bring home? Because you're bringing the wrong kind of guys home, and she knows better than you. And you don't know the pain that's down in the basement controlling your choices. You don't know it. That's why it's always good, no matter the younger ones, if you're not married, it's always better for you to say to your parents or to other adults, is this person really a good person for me? You know, it's really kind of funny because if you're really honest and you really want to know, I bet a lot of adults would say, no. And then the obvious response is, well, you don't really know him like I know him. And I think, okay, fine. The reality is, if there is pain in your past, in your basement, you don't make good choices. The next one is a critical spirit. You get attacked so much that you just become critical. And some people are just, and if you've been around critical spirit a lot, it'll hurt you. If you have someone who's very judgmental and very critical of you, if someone's always picking at you, have a boss that picks at you until you just come home crying and you're a guy, that's pretty bad. You know, you have a boss like that, you know what you'll do? You'll eventually quit. Or shoot him. Or both, you know. You know, if someone's too critical, it wounds you. And it'll hurt you. And it'll change some things. So you have to be really careful. The last one is an ungodly behavior. Sometimes it becomes impossible for a person to be godly. That you want to be godly, but you can't. Now let's talk about just the healing then. How are we going to get healed? You first of all have to recognize the emotional pain. You have to recognize that there is a pain there. Because if you don't recognize it and admit to it, you're going to continue to operate out of it. And see, here's where, this is the hard part, by the way. This is when you minister to someone and you're trying to get them to this, to admit it, it's really hard. And you really have to ask the Lord to show you. It's really hard. And no one's going to just admit to it. We're not all going to go around the room here and admit to our emotional troubles. You know, we don't do that. You do it, but the Bible does say to confess your sins one to another. So it does talk about the need to talk to somebody, but you need to find someone you can go to and just say, there's something not right. I keep exploding. I keep choosing wrong friends. I keep